So, similar to a discussion we had a couple days ago about art through adversity, today I want to talk about knowing you're your own artist and not, just some hack. Because imposter syndrome runs rampant in any art medium people do, And if you don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's just the idea that, like, wherever you are in terms of success, you feel like it's a complete fluke that you got there and that you didn't deserve it, that everyone else around you did, but you were just an accident. And I'll tell you, I'm no stranger to feeling that way about my own work. Like I said in that last video, I often feel bad for days if I feel like the video I put out wasn't good, but nonetheless, even my worst videos, people still watch them. I'm just trying to kind of get to the fundamentals of the idea of knowing that you are your own unique voice and not just a copy of someone around you. Because if anyone knows about being compared to other YouTubers, it's me. We're not going to get too specific, but I feel like most of you probably know what I'm getting at. And I'll tell you, for a while I did feel like I was just kind of a fraud hack, and that was because I felt like I was kind of a copy of somebody else and not really my own unique person. But I've come to realize that even when I felt like I was just kind of imitating that person the most, that I wasn't really a copy of them. So let's get this out of the way. Everyone knows that everyone is inspired by something, someone. No one's ideas come completely from their own mind. It's a mixture of things around them. Even like the most wickedly creative people know they live in the pretense of the time they live in and the context of the world they live in at the time. Everyone draws on things. And I'm not trying to like compare myself saying like, oh, my Earthbound videos are on the same level as Da Vinci. Just that everyone has influences. And it sometimes helps to remind yourself that even the people you're drawing on as your inspirations for your work have their own influences they're drawing on. So let's get to the question now. How do you find your creative voice and know it's you speaking and not others? Now, here's a little sidebar. I tend to try to not watch too much of one YouTuber right before I write a script or something, because then I feel like it reverts me a bit and then I'm just kind of writing in their voice. So if you want tips for writing in your own voice, I would say try to give yourself a little sanitation from absorbing too much of another person's work right before you create something of your own. There's a time and place for that, especially for research and stuff, but maybe just write your notes for a while, and then eventually when you feel like you've had enough distance from those works to write as yourself, do that. So the conclusion I've kind of come to in this question of if I'm talking in my own voice or if I'm just imitating someone else, it comes down to this. I developed it through imitating them. I imitated other people that I enjoyed, and eventually, after a lot of time spent doing that, it eventually morphed into my own work. And now I feel like I make videos oftentimes, in a way at least, even if it's on a subject that's been covered before, in my own way that is unlike anyone else who has or ever will do it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it will be unlike a way anyone else does it, just meaning as far as I know. So that's what I'm trying to say. If you want to find your creative voice, you have to draw on your inspirations and imitate them a little bit, and eventually your voice emerges. Some people's voices emerge quicker than others, but my point is, don't get down on yourself for feeling like you're trying to be like someone else, because I've always stood by the belief you need that sort of confidence. I don't like to use the word arrogance, but I think it works better with the connotation. The amount of arrogance to feel like you can do something better than others, and that's what drives you, and that's what leads to you creating something in your own unique way, because you're trying to create what you're seeing isn't there in others' work of it. And when you eventually find that voice, you're also going to find, I'm talking about making YouTube videos, so we'll stick with this line of discussion, but then you'll find eventually you're making videos you feel no one else could, or you're making the best versions of videos that already exist. That's how you know you're both growing and that you are your own artist. You're still gonna have missteps for sure, don't get me wrong, but my point is that you'll be in a space where you feel like you're gonna be less prone to that imposter syndrome feeling. Just check in on your work sometimes and look at it and go, could someone else have made this in the exact same way? And eventually you'll find yourself getting further and further from ever saying yes. I did touch on a few different tangents there, but I think my point is as clear as I'm going to be able to make it just talking off the cuff like this. So let me know what you think. If there's other things you want me to talk about, let me know, and I hope you guys have a good one.